Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this on your Facebook page. Okay, we're in the front garden. This direction is north, that direction. The front garden is looking gorgeous. We are getting to the end of our spring here in the North Texas. It is about mid-May right now, and I know that that's just the beginning of spring for so many of y'all, but this is really the end for us. We've already had a few days of upper 90 degree weather, and some of my plants are starting to transition out. Specifically, daffodils all the way across the front of here. So we're going to be doing a lot of work on the daffodil areas and dealing with daffodil foliage at the end of the season. And then we're also going to be planting some additional plants that I grew from seed. Okay, so I planted daffodils years ago in this garden, and every once in a while I do go back and plant some additional ones. I feel like every 2 to 3 years I have to go plant another 25 or 50 as some die off or don't do as well, just depending. But I really do love daffodils because they are the first signs of spring in my garden, and I even get them blooming as early as late January to beginning of February. And they really don't have a lot of maintenance required for them, except for this time of the year when the foliage starts to die back. And properly handling your daffodil foliage is what's going to lead to future blooms. So let me bring you in closer and let's talk about that. Okay, so this is some of the daffodils. I have a lot more throughout the space. We're gonna get rain? Course. Okay, so when to cut back the daffodils, you only prune once the foliage has yellowed and beginning to flop. And so you can see a lot of it's coming to the side. We're getting yellowing and brown on the tips. Like, it's definitely time to start dealing with this foliage. And that usually occurs 6 to 8 weeks after they bloom in other places. For me, it does not occur that way. These bloomed in February. It's May. These guys are still, I mean, some of them are going strong. I can't leave these up all season long. I leave them up for as long as possible until I start to see all their tips turn brown and yellow, and then I take the time to go ahead and cut back the foliage. But if you need to cut back your foliage earlier than you think, at least wait 6 to 8 weeks after blooming cycle, after all of the daffodils have bloomed, to then cut back the foliage. And remember that cutting too early on your foliage, if you haven't given it enough time to draw energy up through its leaves down into the bulb so it can bloom for next season, if you don't give it the time it needs, you most likely will not get prolific blooms the next year. Now, one of the easiest ways to deal with this is you can just cut it down to the base, just an inch or two above the ground. Super simple and easy. I also seen some people who like to braid their foliage, which is definitely an option. So you can kind of take it, bend it to the side or whatever like this, and pin it down to the ground, braid it out of the way. There's lots of different options. For me, I just like to go in and cut it down. So let's get that done. All right, so we're gonna start. Very simple. I've also got some Muscari greens in here. We're going to take those down as well. And all I'm going to do is just grab hold of the foliage, just like this. I'm going to leave a couple of inches up, and then I'll just give it just a little bit of extra time to bring some energy to the bulbs. Super simple, easy, very satisfying, I will say, process. And it really goes a long way to change the whole look of this front border once these are gone. And I've also got quite a few in this space as well, going this direction and mixed in with a lot of the Dusty Miller that is actually starting to flower, which is really exciting. I actually like when my Dusty Miller flowers. I know a lot of people don't enjoy the flowers. I think they're great. I will say that typically signals the end of life for Dusty Miller, but that's okay because I actually pull out a lot of my Dusty Miller during the summer and replace it with a better summer annual that likes the weather, the heat a little bit more. So I've got a bunch of Zahara zinnias that I started from seed that are coming to fruition. I have a lot of marigolds. I have coleus to go over there. So I have a lot of other things that can come in and replace that Dusty Miller, and they're going to look a whole lot nicer than the Dusty Miller will throughout the hot seasons. I actually think I'm going to pull out this Dusty Miller right here because it's kind of in the way of my design. Yeah, I like that better. That opens this space up for lots of coleus. I might even take this guy out too. Yeah, I'm going to take him. There we go. Now, there is a lot more daffodils down into the Dusty Miller daffodil foliage. I'm not going to super stress about that because it'll just live out its life and get more energy in those bulbs. And I mean, I'm not obviously planting into my Dusty Miller, so I think that works fine. And it looks like we need to deadhead some of these dahlias over here. Go ahead and take this guy. Okay, feeling good. Got that cleaned up. And then I raked everything up, and then I went through and I pulled grass. If you have Bermuda grass, you understand it's never ending. But I'm feeling really good. So what I want to do first is I want to lay out my plants, and I want to color block some of this so that I can see some different colors. And I think starting with some of this black dragon coleus will be really good. Now, typically coleus does better with, what do you call it, shade. And this does get shade in later afternoon, but I do have drip irrigation set up to these, which will be extremely helpful for this whole process and keeping these guys going. Now we're going to have to do a cutback on these coleus, and I'll talk to y'all about that when we get over to them. But let me just go ahead and start by placing a bunch of my plants so I can kind of get a look about where I want them to be. I do have a couple of perennials that I think I'm going to work right into this area. This is the Mesa Peach Gaillardia that I grew from seed. I think having a couple of those, a little brightness would be really good there. And then I think that I'm going to do some Wizard Jade Coleus across this front. And we are going to be cutting some of this back to make it more bushy instead of tall. And then finally, I have some of this Aloha Blue Ageratum that I'm also going to work in pretty thickly across this front part. Let me take this whole thing over here. Because it'll bring a lot of nice color to this front border right here where we really don't have a lot of color going on. I might tuck in some of this Coleus too, just for a little bit of a different color swap in here. I think that might be nice. Okay, so I'm going to be going through and planting. All of these are going to get planted, or all of these I would suggest being planted with biotone. I'm out of fertilizer right now, so I'm not going to stress about it. The Coleus, basically I'm going to come through on the Coleus and I'm going to cut pretty low on the branches, and I'm going to encourage branching on these. So we're going to make these plants a little bit smaller for the time being, and cutting them back like this will make them much bushier. So I'm going to go ahead and go through, start planting this in, and as I'm planting, I'm going to tell you about each different variety of plant. Oh, and don't forget, all these I grew from seed. Very exciting. Wizard Jade Coleus has creamy white and green variegated leaves that brighten up shady spots. It grows 10 to 12 inches tall and wide, thrives in part shade to full shade with moist, well-draining soil. It's hardy in zones 10 through 11 and grown as an annual elsewhere. Okay, switching over to these Gaillardia. This is the peach Mesa Gaillardia over here. And I'm going to go ahead and deadhead it in multiple places to go ahead and encourage new blooms throughout. And I'm literally just cutting above a set of 2 leaves. Now I will say I do have some mealybugs going on these, but truthfully getting out of the pots will make a big difference to get these guys going again. And getting them outside more in their natural environment, allowing their roots to spread out, the whole situation is just going to be better for them across the board. Mesa Peach Gaillardia produces daisy-like blooms in soft peach and yellow tones, perfect for sunny borders. It grows about 16 to 18 inches tall and wide and is drought tolerant once established, hardy in zones 5 through 9. Okay, and now I'm going to shift over into the Aloha Blue Ageratum, and I do have a little bit of deadheading I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to come across my pruners and anything that's on its way out. I'm just going to cut that back in order to encourage more blooms. Aloha Blue Ageratum offers fluffy blue flower clusters ideal for edging in containers. It prefers full sun to part shade and reaches 6 to 12 inches tall. It's hardy in zones 10 and 11 and is grown as an annual in most other zones. Okay, so now I've got that in. Now I'm going to layer in 2 varieties of Coleus, a Kong Coleus. I believe this is Kong Coleus Red or Kong Coleus Rose. I can't remember which one. But layer in a Kong Coleus, which I'm sure you're not going to want to see, but we're going to be doing some massive pruning on this, so boop. Yeah, I know that's a lot. Truthfully, I should take it down further. Here we go. All right, so we're going to take them down a little bit further, and the same is going to be said for the Black Dragon. We're going to take them down pretty low like that and allow them to bush out and then fill in this space. And the red of this Black Dragon is going to look really great. Oh, sorry. But with this as a background, this is my Limelight Hydrangea. So let's get that knocked out. Black Dragon Coleus features ruffled deep burgundy to near black foliage that adds dramatic color to shady spaces. It grows about 12 to 14 inches tall and wide. It's hardy in zones 10 and 11, used as an annual in cooler zones. Kong Rose Coleus has large, eye-catching leaves with vibrant rose centers and green edges. It thrives in shade and grows 18 to 22 inches tall and wide. It's hardy in zones 10 through 11 and grown as an annual elsewhere. Okay, big changes that of course will continue to fill in. So we cut back all the daffodils and muscari foliage across the front here. And we added in some Wizard Jade Coleus, which is, a green with a cream veining in the center. Should be a nice contrast across the front there. Then working this way, we put in two peach or Mesa Peach Gaillardias right there, which are perennials in this area. Then we layered in Aloha Blue Ageratum, which stays shorter, but that purple color will be really pretty. And then behind that, we layered in some Concoleus and some Black Dragon Coleus to kind of create a contrast between the Limelight Hydrangea and the Ageratum. So there'll be a swirl of red tones in there, which I think will look really, really pretty. It feels good. It feels really nice. Still haven't gotten to this container. I don't know if I'm going to do much. I might just clean it up a little bit and then let the Henry Dulberg Salvia just do its thing in there. Looking really nice. So now let me show you how I'm going to fertilize all this. Okay, for those of you who have not seen my process, I've got an old school Miracle Grow sprayer. And it does have current water in here because I've been doing some other feeding. I'm going to pour about half the water out. And then I'm going to take my Alaskan fish emulsion and maybe half a cup in there. Put the lid back on. Always put the lid back on. That can be bad news if it spills. That's a lot of money down the drain. Put my lid back on Miracle Grow. Give it a good shake. Ooh, dirty. All right, well, let's hook it up to the hose. I planned poorly. Here we go. All right, and then we will go through it and water everything in like this, utilizing the fish emulsion. Bye, y'all. Have fun. Utilizing the fish emulsion, which smells terrible, but it does a really good job. And it is a cost-effective approach because that big gallon that I have, I've had it for multiple years, and it's all very concentrated. Now, I would say this year, definitely been hitting it harder on the fish emulsion. All right, y'all. Feeling good. It's looking nice. I'm really excited for the red tones to grow in right here. I think it'll be really pretty, especially with the purple ageratum. These all should do fine with the heat, especially because they have drip irrigation to the base of them. And doing all right in the front. The petunias are starting to get to the end. They're starting to look a little bit lighter green, which typically means they need to be fertilized more often. So hopefully I can get out here and keep pushing and working on that. Have some phlox that's getting to its end. I have a little quickfire hydrangea that's putting on its blooms. But everything's looking really pretty. Still loving the front porch. Obsessed with the front porch and all those reds and pinks and strawberry tones. So looking really good, and I hope you all are continuing to work in your gardens. This is the time of the year where I'll continue planting stuff. It's a weird time of year transitioning from spring into summer for us. Because truthfully, July and August are like no grow times for us in North Texas. It is just unbelievably hot, humid, and things just don't grow a lot during that time. We've got just the basics that'll grow during that time. But I'm kind of also at the point where I'm starting to plan for some of my fall plantings. I recently did a video that showed all of the annual seeds I'm going to be starting this summer for fall planting. That was exciting. And continuing to plan for additional perennials that I would like to grow from seed that I would like to get planted out in the fall. So everything's feeling really good, rocking along, and just continuing to enjoy the gardening process. All right, you all, as always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to check me out in my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It's all things gardening, all things She's a Mad Gardener. It's just a group of people who want to talk about gardening. It's great. Really love it. There is a free tier that you can join in, and there are additional paid tiers. Each additional paid tier gets you to a higher level, which gives you more access, including exclusive videos not available anywhere else, as well as group chats and sharing photos. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.